So, in our previous lecture, we have discussed about working capital. We have seen that what actually is working capital, and we have discussed the importance of working capital, right? So, working capital is one of the most important component of business, right? So, if you are able to manage your working capital properly, so your business won't be facing problem, right? In coming years or in future, your business won't be facing any problem, right? After that, we have discussed about operating cycle, right? So we have seen that what actually is operating cycle, right? So operating cycle means time taken to convert your material into cash. That is what a operating cycle, right? We have discussed about operating cycle in detail, and we have seen the formula of operating cycle. So what is the formula of operating cycle? Raw material days, WIP days plus finished good days plus debtor days, right? This is the formula for operating cycle, right? And if you want to calculate your cash conversion cycle, so what is going to be the formula? Operating cycle minus creditor days, right? This is how what you can do. You can calculate your cash conversion cycle, right? And cash conversion cycle is also known as net operating cycle, right? So these things, what we have done, we have discussed detail, and we have done few examples also. And we have seen the case of Amazon and Apple, right? We have seen that Apple and Amazon, they are having negative cash conversion cycle. Why they are having negative cash conversion cycle? Because they are getting credit from creditors, right? Their creditors, they are providing longer credit period. That is the reason their funds are not getting blocked, and due to which their cash conversion cycle is negative, right? These things we have done, we have discussed in detail in previous lecture. After that, we have seen the case of L&T. We have done the case of L&T. In case of L&T, we have seen that we have to calculate operating cycle and cash conversion cycle, right? We have calculated operating cycle and cash conversion cycle. Now, if you want to calculate operating cycle and cash conversion cycle, so you should have debtor days, right? You should have inventory days, right? If you are having inventory days and debtor days, then it is very easy to calculate operating cycle. It is going to be the formula. Formula is going to be inventory days plus debtor days, right? And if you want to calculate cash conversion cycle, so you should have creditor days, right? If you are having creditor days, then it is easy to calculate cash conversion cycle also. Formula is going to be operating cycle minus creditor days, right? This is how what you can do. You can calculate the operating cycle and cash conversion cycle. But what if these data is not given in the question, right? These data is not given in the question. Then what you will, right? Then what we have to do, we have to use the financial statement, and with the help of financial statement, what we can do, we calculate these ratios, right? Now, if financial statement is given, so now what you can do, you can calculate these data, right? You can calculate the days, right? Now, how you can calculate the days? You can use turnover ratios, right? We can use turnover ratios. With the help of turnover ratios, what you can do, you can calculate some data relevant for calculation of days, right? So first, what to do if you want to calculate days? First, you have to calculate turnover ratios. Which turnover ratios you have to calculate? Day turnover ratio, right? You have to calculate inventory turnover ratio, and you have to calculate creditor turnover ratio, right? Now, what is the formula for debtor turnover ratio? Formula is going to be turnover divided by average debtor, right? Turnover divided by average debtor. If you want to calculate inventory turnover ratio, formula is going to be COGS divided by average inventory, right? These topics we have covered previous lecture. I'm just revising these topics. Inventory, right? Here, formula is going to be COGS divided by creditor, right? And average creditor. Here, you have to calculate average creditor. Now, I'm assuming you know how to calculate average debtor, average creditor, and average inventory, right? Once you will calculate the turnover ratio, inventory turnover ratio, and creditor turnover ratio, after that, what you can do, you calculate debtor days, right? After that, what you can do, you can calculate the debtor days. How you will calculate the debtor days? It is 365 divided by DTOR, right? Formula is going to be DTOR. Here, if you want to calculate inventory days, what is going to be the formula? 365 days divided by ITOR, right? And if you want to calculate creditor days, what is going to be the formula? 365 divided by CTOR, right? This is the formula to find out the days, right? And after that, you can calculate the solution, right? So we will do some cases here for your practice purpose, and let's see whether you're able to it or not, right? Here we will solve case number 1. From the given data, calculate operating cycle of ABC Limited, right? Here some data is given, and we have to calculate operate cycle, right? Total revenue is given, and here assumption is given that all sales are credit sales, right? All sales are credit sales, right? So total revenue is 10 lakh rupees. Cost of raw materials given here 6,50,000. Average inventory is given how much? 50,000, and average account receivable is given 25,000. Right now, in this case, if you see, COGS is not right. In this case, COGS is not given. So instead of COGS, what we will do, we will take cost of raw materials here. Right. Instead of COGS, what we will do, we will take cost of raw material consumed. Am I making? Are you able to understand? We will take cost of material consumed. Right. So quickly, what we will do, don't have days with us, right? So first we will calculate the turnover ratio, right? Which turnover ratio we have to calculate? First is going to be inventory turnover ratio, right? And second ratio we have to calculate debtor turnover ratio, right? Debtor turnover ratio. So what is going to be the formula for inventory turnover ratio? Here COGS is missing. So what we will do, we will take cost of material consumed, right? Instead of COGS, we will take cost of material consumed and we will divide COMC with average inventory, right? So average inventory is given in the question, right? That is 50,000, and cost of raw material consumed is also given, that is 6,50,000, right? Cost of raw material is given, that is 6,50,000, right? So here what we will do, we will take 6,50,000 numerator and average inventory in denominator, right? So here inventory turnover ratio is 13 times, right? Inventory turnover ratio is 13 times, right? Now, if I want to calculate debt turnover ratio, so sales divided by average data I have to take. Average data, what I have to do, I have to take here. So what is the sales here? Sales is of 10 lakh rupees and average account receivable is of 25,000. So this is 40 times, right? Here, if you see, the turnover ratio is 40 times, right? Now, if I want to calculate inventory days, and that is, so what formula I will be using here? Formula for calculation of inventory days is going to be 365 divided by ITOR, right? ITOR. Then for debtor days, what we have to do, we have to use formula that is 365 divided by DOR, right? So 365 divided by ITOR is 10, right? And 365 divided by 40, right? So here you can see we have calculated the data in days, right? We have calculated data in days. This is days and days, right? Now, I think it's very easy to calculate operating cycle. So what is the formula for calculation of operating cycle? Formula is inventory days plus debtor days. And here you will be able to calculate the operating cycle. So operating cycle is of 37 days, right? Operating cycle is of 37 days. So hopefully you are able to understand how we have to solve this question. Question number 2, we will do from the following data of VIP Industries, find out the operating cycle of the company, right? Total revenue is given. We assume all sales are credit sales. Cost of raw material is given, that is total purchase. Then here, if you see, opening inventory and closing inventory is given, right? Here, opening inventory and closing inventory is given in the question. Then opening account receivable and closing account receivable is given in the question, right? Now, is it possible for you to calculate average inventory? First of all, we will calculate the average inventory. So opening inventory plus closing inventory, close the bracket, divided by 2, right? That is your average inventory. Then average account receivable, opening receivable plus closing receivable, close the bracket, divide by 2, right? That is 148, right? Now here what we have to do, we have to calculate operating cycle. For operating cycle, we require some data. Now, operating cycle, we will be requiring inventory days and debtor days, right? We will be requiring inventory days and debtor days, right? So first, what we will do, we will calculate inventory turnover ratio, right? We will calculate inventory turnover ratio, and then we will calculate debtor turnover ratio, right? What is the formula for inventory turnover ratio? Formula is going to be COMC, because COGS is not given, divided by average inventory, right? And here formula is going to be sales divided by average debtors, right? Now here, if you right, we will calculate inventory turnover ratio, and then we will calculate debtor turnover ratio, right? What is the formula for inventory turnover ratio? Formula is going to be COMC, because COGS is not given, divided by average inventory, right? And here formula is going to be sales divided by average debtors, right? Now here, if you see in the question, cost of raw material is given, right? And opening and closing inventory is given, right? Opening and closing inventory is given. Now how you will calculate the COMC? In previous question, if you see, opening and closing inventory was not given. Only average inventory was given. That is the reason what we have assumed cost of raw material as cost of material consumed, right? In this case, what we have to do, we have to calculate cost of material consumed. Now, what is the formula for calculation of cost of material consumed? You know what is the formula? Opening inventory plus purchases minus closing inventory. This is the formula to calculate cost of material consumed, right? In previous question, average inventory was given. That is the reason we have not applied this question. Anna? But here, data is given, opening inventory is given, and closing inventory is given. So what we can do, we can calculate the cost of material consumed, right? So what is going to be the cost of material consumed? That is going to be opening inventory plus cost of raw material minus closing inventory, right? Minus closing inventory. This formula we have to apply. Chalo, I'm telling you. See, how you will calculate the cost of material consumed. First of all, I will let you know what is cost of material consumed. Cost of material consumed means the material which is consumed during the year, right? Material which is consumed during the year, right? Now, let's suppose I'm taking very simple example here. Let's suppose I'm taking very simple example. What you have started a business. Now, when you have started your business, let's suppose you have started your business on 1st April 2021, right? You have started your business on 1st April 2021. And know what you have done for whole year or during the whole year, what you have done, you acquired raw material, right? You are a manufacturing company and you have acquired raw material, let's suppose 10,000 units, right? You have acquired raw material that is 10,000 units, right? And the cost of one unit is, let's suppose 10 rupees, right? So total purchase during the year is of 1 lakh rupees, right? Now, if I say that your closing stock unit is, let's suppose 2,000. So is it possible for you to calculate that how many units you have consumed during the year? Let's suppose on 31st March 2022, when you have checked your stock, you found that you are having 2,000 units in your closing stock. You have found that you are having 2,000 units in your closing stock. Is it possible for you to calculate how many units you have consumed during the year? Give me the answer. How many units you have consumed during the year? But opening is not there. Here only purchase is given. Purchase is 10,000 units and closing stock is of 2,000 units. So it's not so easy. 8,000 units consumed kiya. Yes or no? You have consumed 8,000 units during the year, right? You have consumed 8,000 units during the year. So what formula we have used? Purchased minus closing stock. That is 10,000 units minus 2,000 units, right? So you have consumed how many units? You have consumed 8,000 units. Now, what is going to be the opening stock for next year? That is for 1st April 2022. Opening stock is going to be 2,000 units, right? Let's suppose during the year, what you have done, you have purchased 15,000 units, right? You have purchased 15,000 units, right? Your purchase is of 15,000 units. And when you have checked your closing stock, you found that you are having closing stock of 4,000 units. You are having closing stock of 4,000 units. Now, is it possible for you to find out how many units you have consumed in the year? How you will calculate? We have seen the previous formula where purchase and closing was there. So we have taken purchase and we have reduced closing stock from purchase. So we have calculated cost of material consumed. Now, in this case, your opening stock is of 2,000 units. Opening stock means 2,000 units you already having in the beginning of the year. Then again, what you have done, you have purchased new units, that is 15,000 units, right? And at the end, you found that there is a closing stock in your hand, right? That is of 14,000 unit, right? So formula is going to be opening plus purchase. इससे आपका क्या पता चलेगा कि total units आपके साल में कितने थे, during year कितने थे? 17,000 थे. अब अंत में जब आपने चेक किया तो कितने बचे थे? केवल 4,000 बचे थे. तो आपको कैलकुलेट करते आएगा क्या कि कितना यूनिट्स कंज्यूम किया? You have consumed 13,000 units. Yes or no? So this is how we calculate cost of material consumed. Opening stock plus purchase minus closing stock. Is it clear? So here, this is how we have calculated cost of material consumed. Now we have to follow the same step, right? So cost of material consumed is here 701 crore rupees, right? It is 701 crore divided by average inventory. So here we have calculated average inventory. Yes or no? So we will calculate. So it is 2.3 times, right? Now next is debtor. So debtor is of 1,415 crore divided by average debtor values in here 149, right? So it is 9.511 times, right? Now here, if you want to calculate days, how you will calculate the days? If you want to calculate the days here, So inventory days, what is going to be the formula for inventory days? That is going to be 365 divided by inventory turnover ratio, right? And here it is going to be 365 debtor days के लिए क्या करेंगे 365 divided by debtor turnover ratio, right? So here 365 divided by inventory turnover ratio, 365 divided by inventory turnover ratio, right? And 360 divided by debtor turnover ratio, right? So this is going to be in days. So now here, what is going to be the operating cycle? Operating cycle formula is going to be inventory days plus debtor days, right? So if I do the total here, so total is going to be how it is going to be 194 days, right? It is going to be 194 days. Are you to understand? This is how we have to calculate operating cycle. Let's see what illustration 4 says. Here income statement is given. Revenue is given. Here we are assuming that 100% revenue is credit sales, right? 100% sales, credit sales. So I'm making assumption here, 100% sales is credit sales, right? Now cost of goods sold is given here, gross profit, sales and general administration expenses, operating profit is given, net income is given here. Then in balance sheet, we are having trade receivable. So trade receivable is important to calculate operating cycle. Inventory is given here, right? So I will highlight the required cells, right? Property, plant and equipment, intangible asset, goodwill is given, then trade payable is given. So we will use trade payable for the calculation operating cycle, right? Then if you see, nothing else we have to use, right? Here we have to use revenue, right? And we have to use COGS, right? So we have to select the data and accordingly we have to proceed, right? Now here first, what we have to do, we have to select the credit sales. So we are assuming 100% sales is the credit sales, right? COGS is already given in the question, that is 3,60,000. COGS is how much? It is 3,60,000, right? So I will change the style here. So it is 3,60,000 here, right? And average inventory we have to calculate. So how I will calculate the average inventory? That is going to be opening inventory plus closing inventory divided by 2, right? Divided by 2, right? Average receivable is going to be opening receivable plus closing receivable, close the bracket, divided by 2, right? Then here, if I want to calculate, if I want to calculate average inventory turnover, so what is going to be the formula for inventory turnover? COGS divided by average inventory, right? If I want to calculate number days of inventory, so that is going to be 365 divided by 2.71, right? Then if I want to calculate account receivable turnover, so what is going to be the formula? Formula is going to be credit sales divided by average receivable, right? So that is 9.11. And if I want to calculate number of days receivable, that is going to be 365 divided by account receivable turnover, that is 40.8, right? So here 134 plus 3.08 you will be doing. So you will be getting here operating cycle, right? Now, if I want to calculate cash conversion cycle, so for calculation of cash conversion cycle, what data I will be requiring here? I will be requiring average creditor, right? I will be requiring here average creditor. So we'll calculate cash conversion cycle also. So here average creditor is going to be is the formula opening creditor plus closing creditor divided by 2, right? So opening creditor plus closing creditor, right, divided by, right? So that is going to be here 93,000. Now if I want to calculate account payable turnover, so what is going to be the formula for calculation of account payable turnover? Formula is going to be, what is going to be the formula? COGS, and here we have to take COGS divided by average creditor, right? So that is going to be 3.8 times, right? So here I will write down the times, and here it is days, right? So it will be easy for you to analyze the data. And here, number of days of payable, if I want to calculate. So what I will be doing, I will be taking 365 in numerator and I will divide this 365 by account payable over, right? So it is going to be 94.29 days, right? So this is your operating cycle. Right? This is your operating cycle. We have already calculated. We have to calculate now cash conversion cycle, right? So if I want to calculate cash conversion cycle, net operating cycle, So what is going to be the formula? Inventory turnover. We can take operating cycle directly, right? Operating cycle minus this number of payable, right? So here, if you see what is going to be the answer, cash conversion cycle is going to be 80.63. Right? This is the cash conversion cycle. Are you able to understand how we have calculated the answer? Is it okay? Yeah. So now we can do the next concept. Treasury management, right? This concept we have to start, and this concept is quite easy concept, right? So focus here. What is treasury management, right? Basically, treasury management means management of treasury. Right? Now, business, lots of time, what accountant or what finance manager they do, they forecast their cash requirement. Right? Every business needs to forecast their cash requirement. Right? Now, let's suppose if you are starting a business, right? If you are starting a business, so what you will be doing, you will be forecasting your requirement, right? And accordingly, what you will be doing, you will be investing some money into your business, है ना? अब मैं बात करूं शार्क टैंक की. शार्क टैंक में हमने बहुत सारे एपिसोड्स देखे थे, right? And there we have seen that pitchers, what they used to sell their stake to sharks for cash, right? So they used to sell their 5%, 10% stake at a valuation of 10 crore, right? They used to demand 1 crore rupees for 10% stake, right? What is the reason why they are selling their stake? Why they are selling their 10%, 5% equity? Just because they require cash, right? So ऐसे ही जाके वो पैसे नहीं मांगते थे. वो पहले क्या करते थे? अपनी cash requirement को find out करते थे, right? We have seen lots of episodes, right? Where sharks, they have given loan to the pitchers. They have given money against equity, right? This is how they used to raise money from sharks, right? Pitchers इसी तरीके से क्या करते थे? पैसे raise करते थे. तो अब आपको क्या करना पड़ेगा ना, यू नीड टू फोकस योर कैश रिक्वायरमेंट, राइट? नाउ इफ आई सिंपल एग्जांपल, लेट्स सपोज यू आर गोइंग टू गोवा, राइट? अब मुझे एक चीज बताओ, तुम्हारे पास पैसे हैं क्या गोवा जाने के लिए? नहीं है, राइट? यू विल बी आस्किंग मनी फॉर फ्रॉम योर पेरेंट्स, राइट? नाउ यू जस्ट लेट मी नो इफ यू विल आस्क 1 लाख रुपीस फ्रॉम योर, सो आपके डैड देंगे क्या 1 लाख रुपीस फॉर 4-5 डेज ट्रिप? No. Here what you have to do, you have to put your budget in front of your parents, right? What you will do, you will explain that why you need 1 lakh rupees. First of all, he won't be giving you 1 lakh rupees, right? उन्हें पता है 1 लाख मिलेगा तो तुम क्या क्या कर सकते हो. So that is the reason your parents will be giving you 1 lakh, right? So what they will be doing, they will be asking you for the calculations and budget, right? So first you will tell, I am going alone, right? This is going to be your first answer, that I am going alone, right? Alone, and thus you will आप अपना ही खर्चा उठाओगे, किसी और पार्टनर का खर्चा नहीं उठाओगे, right? So that is the reason your parent won't be giving you 1 lakh rupees, because they know that you are going alone, right? Now, what you have to do, you have to explain, right? That suppose if you're asking for 50,000 rupees, so you have to explain that you will go by flight, right? So 10,000 आने का लगेगा. Then you will book a hotel, right? Hotel cost is going to be 10,000, right? Then cost is going to be 5,000 for 4 days, right? Then 5,000 is going to be other expense, right? Other expense in this, you will book a car, right? You will book a bike or car. 5,000 उसका expense हो जाएगा. Total कितना हो जाएगा? Total expense going to be of 30,000 rupees, right? And 5,000 for other drinks, right? Soft drink you will consume there. 5,000 is for soft drink, right? So maximum what your parents will be doing, they will be giving you 35,000 rupees. Yes or no? Your parents, they will be giving you 35,000 और थोड़ा सा contingencies के लिए 5,000 दे देंगे आपको. So total आपके parents आपको कितना देंगे? They will be giving you 40,000, right? And if you will demand 1 lakh rupees, so they will kick your dash, right? So here, what you have to do, you have to prepare a budget. Similarly, what companies do, they also prepare budget. How do you understand? They forecast their cash requirement, right? Now, what is the logic behind forecasting of cash requirement? अब कंपनी को पता चल गया ना, कंपनी को 10 करोड़ रुपए लगेगा आने वाले साल में, because there is a huge demand of their product, right? And they need to buy lots of raw material, they need to hire lots of employees, right? They need to bear lots of other expenses. So if they come to know that they will be requiring 10 crore rupees, so what they will do, they will try to find out the source of money, right? Either they can take loan, they can take overdraft facility, they can take cash credit facility, or they can look for investor, right? There are lots of sources, right? So उनको एक बार अगर requirement पता चल गया, बिजनेस के लिए क्या हो जाएगा, बहुत इजी हो जाएगा.
क्यों इजी हो जाएगा? उन्हें पता रहेगा ना कि आने वाले टाइम में 10 करोड़ लगेगा। अगर 10 करोड़ नहीं अरेंज कर पा रहे हैं तो कैश क्रंच आ जाएगा। यस और नो? है ना? क्या आ जाएगा? कैश क्रंच आ जाएगा। आर यू एबल टू? So that is the reason what every business do. They forecast their cash requirement. That is what a treasury management, right? So treasury management में सबसे आप पहले आप क्या करोगे? बजट प्रिपेयर करोगे. Then you will search for the sources कि कहाँ से पैसा अरेंज करना है, right? Now here we will learn how to prepare the budget, right? How to prepare the budget. Here you can see format of budget is given, right? Here you can see format of budget is given, right? So in top, if you see months, we write down, then here months is given January, February, and March. Then we have to start with receipts, right? We have to start with receipts, right? Now, if I talk about business, so in which case business will be giving the cash when business will be performing the sales, right? Just think like a layman. In which case business will be receiving the cash when business will perform a sales, right? Or if business has done some investment, so business can receive interest, business can receive dividend, business can receive rental if they have let out any property, right? So these are the sources from business will be receiving the cash, right? So first what we have to do, we have to record all the receipts, right? We have to record all the receipts, right? We have recorded all the receipts. After that, what you have to do, you have to record all the payments, right? So if you have purchased any goods on credit, raw material on credits, so you will be making the payment, right? You have to pay income tax, you have to pay dividend, lots of other expenses you have to pay. Then what you have to do, you have to record all the expenses, right? Then you will come to know that how cash is required for your business, right? In coming days, right? So here what we will do, we will solve questions, so you will be getting more clarity. So we will solve illustration 1 and you will be getting more clarity about this cash treasury management. Now, just listen to me very carefully, right? This question is important. From the following information, prepare a cash budget, right? What you have to do here, you have to prepare a cash budget for the month of June and July, right? You have to prepare cash budget for the month of June and July, right? Here months are given: April, May, June, July, right? 4 months are given here, right? And if you see, credit sales data is given, then credit purchase data is given, right? Then manufacturing overheads are given here, then selling overheads are given here, right? You can see credit sales, credit purchase, manufacturing overheads, and selling overheads are here, right? Apart from this, additional information is given. Company has paid advance tax, right? Or company has to advance tax of 4,000, which is payable in the month of June and December, right? Company paid advance tax and which is going to be payable, which is going to be paid in the month of June and December, right? Credit period allowed to debtor is of 2 months, right? I will explain these things, right? First, you read these lines. Credit period allowed to debtors is of 2 months, right? After that, credit period allowed by vendor or supplier. Here, period is missing. So I will write down is 1 month. Note down this data. Credit period allowed by vendor or supplier is of 1 month, right? Credit period allowed by supplier is of 1 month, right? Then delay in payment of other expenses given here 1 month, right? Delay in payment of other expenses 1 month, right? After that, if you see opening balance of cash on 1st June is estimated 20,000 rupees, right? This is the opening balance, right? Now, what question is saying, I will read these lines, right? Credit period allowed to debtor is 2 months, right? Now, what this line means? Credit period allowed to debtor is of 2 months. What does it mean? Receivable days, right? This is your receivable days. Here, what you have done, you have performed credit sale, right? And debtors will be giving you the money after 2 months. So if you have performed sales in the month of April, when you will be receiving the cash for this month? After 2. So you will be receiving the cash for this month in the month of June. If you have performed sales in the month of May, when you will be receiving the cash? You will be receiving the cash in the month of July, right? Here you have performed sales of 90,000 rupees. When you will be receiving the cash? September. And here, if 84,000 cash you will be receiving in the month of August, right? So here, if you see, so what we have to do, we have to prepare budget for the month of June and July, right? We have to prepare budget for the month of June and July. So you will be receiving 84,000 and 9,000 in the month of June and July, right? There will be cash inflow of 84,000 and 90,000 in month of June and July. Is this concept is clear? समझ में आया? चलो. Now, if you see credit chase, credit period allowed by vendor or supplier is of 1 month.
Means if you have purchased any goods in the month of April, when you will be making the payment, you will be making the payment in the month of May. This 64,000 payment you will be making in the month of June. This 66,000 payment you will be making in the month of July, right? And this 64,000 payment you will be making in the month of December. So we have to prepare budget for June and July. So which payment we will be taking here? 64 and 66. Here, you know, we have to take, we don't have to take 84,000 and 90,000. Here I done a mistake, right? Because here you are allowing credit period of 2 months. So June and July में कौन सा पे करेंगे हम लोग? June and July में 80,000 and 84,000 पे करेंगे. Sorry. So here we have to take 80,000 and 84,000. And for this credit purchase, we have to take 64,000 and 66,000, right? Hopefully you are able to understand. Now, if you read the name, delay in the payment of other expenses. They are talking about manufacturing overhead and selling overhead, right? So when you will be making the payment of manufacturing overheads and selling overheads, here you are getting credit of 1 month, right? So here, obviously, we will take the same data. That is 2,400 and 2,600 and 2,800 and 2,800. Why? Because here, if you see 2,000 payment you will be making in the month of May, 2,400 payment you will be making in the month of June, and this payment you will be making in the month of July. So we have to take data of June and July. Again, here we have to take the data of June and July, right? Hopefully you are able to understand. Is it clear to you all? Chalo. Now what we have to do, we have to prepare the budget, right? Here we have to prepare the budget. Right. So simply, I will use the format which I have shown you. That format I have to use. So first I will write down month here, right? Then June and July. So first, what I have to do, I have to write down your receipts, right? So sales, right? Credit sales. So you will be receiving 80,000 in the month of June and 84,000 in the month of July, right? So 84,000 we have to take here, right? 80 and 84,000 we have to take here, right? Now, there is no other receipt, right? Apart from sales, there is no other receipt. So we have to start with payments now, right? We have to start with the payments, right? You have to leave one line after receipts, right? So just leave one line after receipts, right? After we have to record payments here, right? We have to record payments, right? So I will start with the first advance tax of 4,000 payable in June and December, right? So we are preparing budget for the month of June and July. So you will be making advance tax payment in the month of June and December, right? So advance payment, which you will be making in the month of June is of rupees 4,000, right? So here we will be taking 4,000 rupees, right? Then credit period allowed to debtors, we have already considered this data. Credit period allowed by vendor or supplier is of 1 month. So what data we have to take for credit purchase? It is going to be 64,000 and 66,000, right? So for purchases, we have to take data that is 64,000 and 66,000, right? This data we have to take. Then manufacturing overhead, right? And selling overhead. Which data I have to take? For manufacturing overhead, I have to take 2,400 and 2,600. And here I have to take 2,800 and 2,800, right? This data I take. Then if you see, opening balance of cash is given. So before I calculate, before I include the opening balance, what I will do, I will calculate the total of cash receipt, right? I will calculate the total of cash receipt. So total cash receipt I have calculated here, right? And I have to calculate the total cash payments. So what is going to be the total of cash payments? Simply I will add all the payments. So that is 73,200 and here it is going to be 71,400. So simply to calculate total cash payments, what I've done, I have done the total of payments and here I have taken the total of July month, right? Now, if you see here, opening cash balance on 1st June is estimated 20,000.
Here, opening cash balance is given for 1st June, right? We are preparing cash budget for the month of June and July, right? What we are doing, we are preparing cash budget for the month of June and July, right? And we are doing opening cash balance. Where should I write down the opening cash balance? Obviously, I will write down the opening cash balance in receipts, right? So here I will write down the opening cash balance. Here I write down the opening cash balance. What is the amount of opening cash balance? It is 20,000, right? Now, if I ask you that what is the total available cash for the month of June? So what is going to be answer? 20,000 plus 80,000. Yes or no? It is going to be 20,000 plus 80,000. So total cash receipt or total available cash balance is of rupees 1 lakh. Yes or no? Is of rupees 1 lakh here, right? Now here you are having total cash of 1 lakh with you, and how much you have to pay in the month of June? You have to pay 73,200, right? So what is going to be the closing balance? Closing cash balance. Is it possible for you to calculate? How you will calculate? That is total cash receipt or total cash available minus total cash payments, right? So this is going to be your closing cash balance. Yes or no? Then, yeah, I will repeat it again. Here, what we have to do in top, we have to write on opening cash balance because आपके pocket में ना पहले से ही 20,000 पड़ा हुआ है. Opening cash balance means you are already having 20,000 rupees with you, right? And your debtors, they will be giving you 80,000 more in the month of June, right? You will be receiving 80,000 rupees from your debtors in the month of June. So what total cash you will be having in the month of June? Obviously 20,000 ऐसे और 80,000 और मिला. Yes or no? तो total cash balance कितना हो गया आपका? 1 lakh rupees हो गया. उसमें से क्या करना है? You have to make the payment. And what you have to do? You have to make the payment to your creditors. You have to pay tax. You have to pay dividend. So in total, how much you have to pay in June month? 73,200. बचा कितना आप? बचा आपके पास 26,800. Is it clear? Now this 26,800 is a closing balance, and this will become opening balance for July month. Yes or no? This closing balance of June month will become opening cash balance. Yes or no? And I will write down opening cash balance. And what is going to be the total of cash available for the month of July? It is going to be 1,10,800. Is it clear? It is going to be 1,10,800. And how much you have to pay in the month of July? You have to pay 71,400, right? How much you have to pay? You have to pay 71,400 rupees. So what is going to be the closing balance? Closing balance is going to be 1,10,800 minus 70,400. Right? It is going to be how much? It is going to be 71,400. Right? So here closing cash balance is going to be 39,400. Right? Closing balance is going to be 39,400. Are you able to understand? So this is how we have to prepare the cash budget. Okay. So see this question. From the estimate of income and expenditure, prepare cash budget for from April to June. Right? We have to prepare cash budget from April to June. April, May, June. Right? 3 months budget we have to prepare. Right? Feb, March, April, May, June. Right? Then sales is given here. Purchase is given. Wages, office expenses, selling expenses. These data is given in the question. Then plant worth 20,000 purchase in June and 25% payable immediately, and the remaining in equal installment in the subsequent month. So what company has done? Company has purchased plant in the month of June. Just a moment. Right here, if you see what company has done, company has purchased plant in the month of June, right? And you see the cost of plant is how much? 20,000. And how much payment company will be making in the month of June? That is 25%. So we have to take only 25%, right? So this is going to be adjusted. Then advance payment of tax will in the month of Jan and April, right? So we have to consider only April month data. So how much advance tax company will be paying? 6,000, right? So this is your advance tax. Then period of credit allowed by supplier is of 2 months, right? So supplier is allowing you it of 2 months, right? So here, if you see, so when you will be making the payment of this Feb month, you will be making the payment of Feb month in the month of April, right? This 76,000 payment will be making in the month of May, and this 78,000 payment you will be making in the month of June. So we have to take these 3 figures in the budget, right? Then further, if you read the question, what question says to customer, it means to debtors you allow credit period of 1 month, right?
So when you will be receiving month payment, you will be receiving month payment in the month of March, March month payment April, April in the month of May, and May in the month of June. So these three data we consider here: 1,24,000, 1,30,000, and 1,22,000. है ना, ये three data हमें लेना पड़ेगा यहाँ पे. Then dividend of 10,000 is payable in the month of June, right? So here we have to consider June dividend. That is how much it is, 10,000, right? So I will dividend here. Then delay in the payment of wages and office expenses is of 1 month, and selling expenses is of half month. So office expenses and wages कब पे करोगे आप? 1 के डिले पे करोगे, राइट? सो ये आपका सब कस्टमर जैसे ही हुआ है ना. सो यहाँ पे क्या लेंगे हम लोग? We will be taking 8,400, 8,800 and 9,000 rupees, है ना. And here also office expenses का भी delay क्या है? 1 month का है. So we will be taking 5,600, 5,400 and again 5,600, right? Now next point is given. If you read this point carefully, selling expenses delay is allowed for half month, right? If you will read this line, so selling expenses delay is allowed for half month, right? What does it mean? What does it mean? Now just listen to me carefully. Here, you know how much you have to pay for the month of February. You have to pay 3,600, right? You have to pay how much? You have to pay 3,600, right? Here for the month of February, you have to pay 3,600, right? How much you have to pay? 3,600. Now, if you see here, let's suppose you have taken services for first 15 days, right? You have taken services for first 15 days. So what's going to be the accrued expense for first 15 days? If monthly expense is 3,600, what is going to be the expense for first 15 days? Half of 3,600, that is going to be 1,800, right? When you will be making the payment of this 1,800 in coming 15 days, right? So from 15th Feb to 30th Feb, you have to make the payment, right? So this 1,800 payment, when you will be making in the month of February itself, but half payment you will be making, right? Now again, you will be taking remaining half month services, and accrued expense is going to be how much? It is going to be 1,800. When you will be making payment of this 1,800 rupees? From 1st March to 15th March, right? You will be making the payment from 1st March to 15th March, right? You will be making the payment till 15th March, right? This is your month. Right? So this 1,800 payment you will be making in the month of March, right? Now here, what is the cost of selling expenses for the month of March? It is 4,000, right? Here you will be taking the services. So what is going to be the half of 4,000? It is going to be 2,000. When you will be making the payment of this 2,000 rupees? Second half. From 15th March to 31st March, right? You will be making the payment till 31st, right? Now, if I talk about only April month, listen to me very carefully. If I talk about only March month, what payment you are making in the month of March? What payments you are making in the month of March? 1,800 payment you will be making in the month of March, right? And this 2,000 payment you will be making in the month of March. So into how much you have paid in the month of March? 1,800 plus 2,000. So what is going to be the total here? Total is going to be 3,800, right? Now here again, you will be taking the services for subsequent 15 days. And what is going to be the accrued expense? This 2,000 accrued expense is going to be 2,000. When you will be making the payment of this 2,000 rupees in the month of April, right? From April to 15th April, you will be making the payment. So in crux, we can say that how much you have paid in the month of March. You have paid 3,800 rupees in the month of March, right? That is 1,800 for previous month and 1,000 for current month, right? This we can calculate by taking average, right? Instead of following this line process, what you can do, simply you can take the average. If you take the average of 3,600 and 4,000, right? So what answer you will be getting? 3,600 plus 4,000 divided by 2, you will be getting the same answer. That is 3,800, right? So every time what we have to do here, guys, we have to calculate the average, right? We have to calculate the average. You will be getting the same answer, right? Either you can follow the lengthy process, or otherwise you can calculate this solution by taking average. Is it clear? So what we have to do here, we have to take the average, right? What is going to be the last step? We have to take the average, right? Now what I will do quickly, I will prepare the budget. Hopefully you understood this concept. Yes or no? Cool. We have to prepare budget for April, May, and June, right? So I will write down the month. April, May, and June. Right. So first I will write down the receipts, right? After receipts, I will write down the opening balance. After that, I will write down the sales, right? After that, I will calculate the total available cash. Right. So what opening balance of cash for 1st April? Here it is 40,000. Right. Opening balance of cash is how much it is? 40,000 rupees. Right. Now, what cash you will be receiving for the sales? What cash you will be receiving for the sales? So here to customer you have 1 month credit. So it is going to be 124, 130 and 122. Right. 124, 130 and 122. 124, 130,000 and 22,000. Yes. I think I have written the correct values. Yeah. Now, if I talk about payments, right? How much you will be paying? How much you will be paying? 80, 76 and 78. Yes. Right? 2 months credit you are getting from creditors. So 80, 76 and 78,000. So if I talk about purchase, it is going to be 80,000, 76,000 and 78. Right? Here I should do the total. So मैं इनका total कर दूं यहाँ पे, तो automatically आपको answer मिल जाएगा. Then here what I have to do, I have to write down payments. Right. So what first I have written purchases, right? After that, if I talk about wages and office expenses, so how much wages you have to pay? 8,400, 8,800, 9,000, right? ये थोड़ा सा ना हिल गया इसका ग्राफ, मैं इसको वापस एडजस्ट कर देता हूँ. ऐसे ना. चलो अब इसको जाने दो यहाँ से. आपको याद है ना क्या था? 1 मंथ का डिले था ना, तो अप्रैल में कौन कौन सा आएगा यहाँ पे? 8,400, 8,800 एंड 9,000. यस और नो? वेजेस 84,889. Wages 8,400, 8,800 and 9,000, right? If I talk about next, that is office expenses. Office expense is going to be how much? It is going to be 5,600, 5,400 and 5,600, right? 5,600, 5,400 and 5,600, right? After that, we have to write down selling expenses. So we have to take the average, right? So for the month of April, which data I will be taking? March and April data I will be taking, right? I have to take average of March and April, right? We are preparing budget for April, May and June. So we have to take average of March and April, right? We have to take average of March and April. So 4,000 and 4,400 divided by 2. So equal to 4,000 plus 4,400 divided by 2. So this is going to be the average 4,200. Then for the month of May, we have to take date 4,400 and 4,200. Are you able to understand? Is it clear? Yes. So 4,400 and 4,200, right? 4,400, 4,200, close the bracket, divided by 2, right? For the month of June, we have to take 4,200 and 3,800, right? 4,200, 3,800. So here I will be taking 4,200 plus 3,800 divided by 2, right? So it is going to be 4,000, right? So we have recorded the expenses. Now we will record the pending expenses, right? So you have purchased machinery and you are making the payment of 5,000 in the month of June, right? And चलो एक-एक करके लिख देता हूँ यहाँ पे. Machinery payment you will be making in the month of June, that is 5,000, right? Then here you will be making the dividend payment of 10,000 in the month of June, right? So here I will write down dividend. That is how much? That is 10,000 rupees, right? After that, one more payment you have to make, that is advance tax. How much you have to advance tax? 6,000 in the month of April. Advance tax 6,000 you have to pay in the month of April, right? So now I have to calculate the total cash payment. What is going to be the total here? Total is going to be 6,000 plus. Very good. 1,04,200. And I will copy data. So here we will be getting the total cash payment amount, right? Now here what I have to do to calculate the closing cash balance. So what is going to be the amount closing cash balance? It is going to be 1,64,000 minus 1,04,200, right? And I will copy this data here. Acha, this closing balance will become opening balance for May month, yes or no? Right? And again, I will do the same step. So इसको मैं क्या करता हूँ यहाँ पे भी कॉपी कर देता हूँ तो ऑटोमेटिकली फिगर ले लेगा वहां से वो, राइट? एंड इसके यहाँ पे मैं कॉपी करता हूँ. So we got the data here. So just see whether you are able to do it or not.